my entry point was at a very young age, where I saw The Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 back to back. My dad showed them to me when I was around 8 or 9 years old, on rented VHSs, and I'd never quite seen anything like them. They got under my skin. Immediately. I didn't really understand what I was watching. I just knew it was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. And I carried those movies into my teenage years as I started to uncover and understand their place and importance within the horror genre kind of around the world, because it's got such a global fan base, these movies. And often the things you see when you're very young, they influence you in a way that you can never truly escape, even if you try. So to get on later in my career and have the opportunity to make Evil Dead Rise and plant my flag inside the universe was a great conclusion to that story. I think with taking on the Evil Dead franchise and making a new movie, it was important to do something fresh and something a little bit different. I think the appetite was there from the producers. My attitude was that I wanted to do something new and different, to depart from what we knew before. And it was about finding interesting characters that are imperfect, that have worries and concerns and things on their mind, just like us or the people that we know, so that we could then go on and identify with those characters as we kind of take them through the dark and crazy twisted corridors of this movie. And I think what's interesting, reflecting on it in a lot of ways, was, taking it out of the cabin in the woods where a group of teenagers go to an already creepy place where they're fish out of water, in a sense. This was actually bringing the horror into the home, into a familiar space, which I think can be all the more frightening. To take something as powerful, like I think when you watch an Evil Dead movie, you're like, we're safe. That's all the way out there in the forest. Everything's okay. But then when you bring that right into the heart of the home, I think it's a beautiful shortcut to communicate with an audience and to terrify an audience and to give them a really good horror roller coaster ride at the movies. In the movie, there's the two central characters, which are these two adult sisters. So you've got Ellie, who's a single mom of three, whose husband, father, has recently left. And she's kind of trying to figure things out on her own, and she's under pressure. The family are under pressure, and everybody's feeling the weight of that change. And at the same time, we meet the character of Beth, Ellie's younger sister, who may or may not be pregnant. Is kind of, there's a sense that something has changed for her, and she's coming home to seek advice. So she's coming to that stronghold to try and understand, maybe is it time to lay down roots and have a family like her older sister, or maybe is it, continue with this life on the road, as per Beth's job is as a guitar technician, as a roadie in the music world. And she arrives at this very fragile time. And not only that, as the family come together, the apple cart is really flipped over when an earthquake hits downtown LA and unveils the Book of the Dead inside their building, and everything changes for that family from that point onwards. The character of Beth, who is played by Lily Sullivan, is a vulnerable character, a character that appears confident and does have confidence as a person, but also is feeling a little weak right now. And Lily Sullivan was able to bring some great nuance to that character, to understand and to get under the skin of who that person was. And she brought great energy. Like, Beth is an energetic character, and Lily naturally is a very energetic person as well. And we worked very hard on her backstory and who she was through the process of rehearsals for this movie. So I think she puts in a very special performance. And what's also fun is that she's an imperfect hero in the story, in the sense that she hasn't gone through the things that she's going through right now. So there's a clumsiness to her, which is natural for anybody. So when she picks up a shotgun in the story, it's not like she knows how to handle a gun. And Lily was great at understanding the weaknesses of her character, which helped made her extremely human. And then in relation to Ellie, who's played by Alyssa Sutherland, who plays this wonderful mother, but then also becomes a subversion of that, and this very dangerous force that bears weight onto this innocent family, her own family in a sense. Alyssa brought an incredible physicality, like an amazing attitude to really go for the role and to bring something very unique to screen in terms of a serious, bad character in a horror movie, and by bad I mean dangerous and terrifying, and she put all she had into it, you know, physically and emotionally, and was willing to like let go. That's what I loved about Alyssa. She was willing to let go and truly try and push and push and push, so that the possessed Ellie on screen could be something super memorable for audiences. I set out to create a roller coaster ride for the audience, blood drenched in a way, but also super entertaining, super scary, super engaging, and an interesting story with characters that you want to spend time with and to feel fear with. I think when you make a horror movie, that's really important, that you can identify with the human beings in the story and feel their plight and feel that connection. And in terms of how I did, look, I hand it over to the audience. That's what it comes down to for me. I'm focused on audience. I try not to cast too much doubt on myself. Like of course I do, like every filmmaker, but when I'm working on something or I'm having a conversation with something, the word in relation to my work, the word audience is the one that I use the most,